Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Corey Browning, you are joining me right now. Now, we are going to talk, sir, about your fight coming up against Randy Stamey. Now, this fight itself, it's not bad. It's kind of exciting fight, being a co-main event for a start, and there's a little bit more to it than that as well.
What?
There's a little bit more to the fight than just being the co-main event. There's a little bit of silverware, I believe. Is it for the 155 belt?
No, it's actually a catchweight fight at 150. Me and Randy Stamey were actually matched out to fight once before, as amateurs, and we were in a Grand Prix tournament at 155, and I don't know what happened, but I ended up switching opponents. But Randy Stamey is supposed to be a real technical stand-up guy, and I want to test my stand-up against a technical guy. So, I don't know, I kind of asked for the fight. In a way, my coaches wanted the fight too, so, I mean, it just worked out.
Is this the 8-man tournament that you had, was it? The one that you won? Is this when you were meant to fight Randy?
Oh, yeah, it was the Grand Prix that I won. The one where, the opponent that I switched to was Kyle Jones. I only fought twice in that tournament. And the second fight in that tournament ended up being postponed because I injured my hand in that fight pretty bad. I got a stragical band injury, boxer's knuckle.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't heal for some reason. It just didn't want to heal. My knuckle kept moving around, and it was painful for about 6 months.
Yeah, those injuries. It's a common. The problem is with the MMA gloves. It's a 4-ounce glove. That's the issue. So basically, they call it a boxer's fracture. It's very common for it to happen, especially when you throw the punch clean, and if their head slightly moves, it changes the punch completely, and the breakage can happen. Did you have to have any surgery on the hand, or has it just healed itself naturally?
Actually, I can still feel some minor symptoms from it every now and then.
Yeah.
Because it was actually my left hand. Wasn't my right. You know, I'm a right-handed fighter. But it was, what happened was I came at him, like, kind of sideways, because I had him mount, and he was trying to sit up. And it just, like I more, like, kind of grinded his forehead with my knuckle.
Right.
Instead of hitting him. And it just knocked the band off. It ripped something in there, and I didn't have to have surgery, but I did have to take care of it for a while. And it actually made me weary, too, because in the next fight right after that, I hurt my other knuckle. So, yeah, the 4-ounce gloves, I mean, they're pretty much there just for your hands. I mean, my hands, they don't tolerate my punching power as well as I'd like them to, though. I mean, because that was a clean hit in the second fight that hurt my hand, and there was no, I didn't go to the doctor, so I didn't get the official diagnosis, but it wasn't really, it felt like it was just a bruised knuckle, but it hurt for probably a good solid year. I still feel symptoms in my left hand, but it's cerebral band in my right hand, and symptoms kind of they're pretty much gone. But, it's, I don't know. Do I want to keep trying to hit people as hard as I can in the head? Maybe not. I'll try to different ways to win.
So, do you think that maybe... I know that the 4-ounce gloves sometimes I found when I've competed myself that some 4-ounce gloves that you get given by the promotions, not the promotion. Sorry, I'll say the design of it. The designs they are all slightly different. I've had some where the padding on the glove is behind the knuckle. It's more on top of the hand rather than across the knuckle and just below the fingers. Some designs of the gloves, the spacing of the padding isn't very much. Another factor is it's hand wrapping. The way the hands are wrapped can make a big difference as well. You know, some guys, you know, if they're not, the taping isn't done right, it can make a huge difference. Some fighters, you know, if they are, you know, if you're heavy-handed, guys can have a different type. There's a different method of taping the hands up. Have you tried to experiment maybe with different taping and stuff since then?
Yeah, I didn't know I was heavy-handed when I was doing this. I mean, those. I mean, when I fought Kyle Jones, it was my second MMA fight, so I really had no idea, and I hadn't really done a ton of training before that. And even though when you're training, you're wearing kickboxing gloves, so your hand is way more protected.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
So really, it was a new experience hurting my hands, because I mean, it was almost a regular thing to hurt my hands in a fight. So, well, I've had my hands wrapped several different ways. But the problem is I really haven't connected that cleanly since. My fourth fight was a pretty big ground battle, and in my fifth fight, I had finally settled down at a gym, and they wanted me to try and get a takedown and work my jiu-jitsu. Because when I started training there, my ground game was actually pretty good, and they were somewhat impressed with it. So they wanted me to try and go for a submission, but that just doesn't really suit my style when I'm in the cage. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a very instinctual. I rely on my instincts and my athleticism more than I rely on my technical ability. Just the way I am. I mean, if it works for me so far, it's going to be really hard to break the habit. So
yeah. You
I don't try to go in with too much of a. I'm going to do this specifically. You know, even though I went into the fight thinking, okay, I'm going to take him down and I'm going to submit him. That's going to be my goal. That's going to be my game plan. I even got as far as getting him inside control. It didn't. I was thinking too much about what I was going to do next, and I wasn't really focused on what he was doing at the moment. I got clipped. That was my one loss.
Do you know what that is? I've experienced that when I've competed as well, where you're overthinking what you should be doing when it's more of a case it should just naturally be happening, so that there is a delay, like you say, that there when you start to think about what to do, it's crazy that it's a fraction of, it's only a fraction of a second sometimes, but your opponent can do a lot in that small amount of time, and then you're playing catch up again, and stuff like that happens. It's crazy how much sometimes you overthink in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, you're your own worst enemy at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Then I haven't really gone in thinking too much of what I'm going to try and do to win, and just thinking, I go in thinking, I'm just going to destroy this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about a game plan against Randy Stamey. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to handle this guy. I'm going to handle whatever he's got.
And you said that you wanted to fight with him. Is that because like you say, because he's good with it? He's good technically with his hands. Are you for yourself? Are you wanting to have that on your record in a sense of, for your personal preference, that someone who's good with the hands, someone maybe who's a good wrestler, someone who's a good submission artist? Are you looking to get someone individually who's skilled at each thing, so you can kind of test yourself at that level of their game?
No, for sure. I mean, because Randy Stamey, his losses usually come from being submitted. He doesn't get beat in the stand-up, really. So what I want to do is I want to go beat him in the stand-up, and I want to fight a wrestler, and I'm going to let him wrestle me, and I want to beat him doing that. I mean, I don't know, when I fight people, I really throw them off guard, because, I'm not afraid to fight them where they're good.
It does. Do you know what? As well, it helps you. It helps you when you do fight, because you get an idea of where you are. Then, don't you? I think it's a beneficial thing for yourself.
Yes, it's huge. It's a big confidence booster too. So you know where you're at, you know what you can handle, and then on top of that, you get the confidence. You're not going to be afraid of the next wrestler you fight.
Yeah.
Or the next, kickboxer or, whatever. I mean, because it's still a symptom in MMA that people are really good at one thing, whether it be stand-up, wrestling, or jiu-jitsu, submissions. And, the other stuff is, good or mediocre. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be good everywhere. So, I started off doing jiu-jitsu first. I did jiu-jitsu for a couple of years before I ever took an MMA fight. I really didn't take much kickboxing at all. And then if you watch my first MMA fight, you'll see jiu-jitsu won that match for me. My big hits, and I do a lot of jiu-jitsu in my second fight too, but my big hits are really on my stand-up. You can tell it's obviously not technical. I'm heavy-handed completely by accident. But I've been working my stand-up a lot lately, so I'm not afraid to
throw it out there.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that people, like you say, some people are still one-dimensional. It's almost like people want to have something to fall back on, just in case, things aren't going right. Some guys I think it's more of a case that it seems that guys want to have something they can fall back on, whether it be their jiu-jitsu, their wrestling, or their fighting. So they probably feel like they'll experiment with the other stuff, and if it's all going wrong, they like that comfort zone is probably what it is, really. They like to have that comfort zone of having one stronger skill set if they can use it.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And, it's funny because I don't think jiu-jitsu is going to be my comfort spot. It's where I'm most technical right now. It's what I know the best.
Yeah.
But I don't know that if it's going to be my fail-safe. Just not sure. It's too early.
It's too early, yeah. You could be a couple of fights in before you maybe even, it could be 3 or 4 fights until you start to get an idea of where your most preferable place is to fight, really. It could be something as simple as clinching on the cage, having someone pinned up against the cage, doing dirty boxing, throwing the little short strikes in, couple of elbows, knees and stuff like that, where you just pick the guy apart slowly on the cage, then you open up by stepping back. It could be something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could. And I haven't really done a whole lot of, because my cage experience is actually very short. I mean, I've had 7 fights, I think, but I mean, really none of them really lasted very long, so I mean, I haven't really had a whole lot of time up against the cage, and in my last fight with Roy Sanders, I got to pin him up against the cage and ground and pound from there, and I really liked that position. I was on top in kind of an awkward guard that he had, but I could still land, so I was landing, and then I felt him kind of trying to move somewhere else, and I gained side control, and I just beat on him.
Well, that's
I felt in control.
With having a guy in a cage, it is kind of handy because you're reducing one direction that they can escape from, so you're taking away the fact that they can't go back. They can only go left or right then, so that makes it a lot easier for you to come back with the counter or to chase them down or close off the gap. The fact that you're reducing their escapes.
Yeah. I mean, it was the only time I'd ever had somebody on the cage, and I could just feel like, I mean, the only way for him to get out was through me.
Yeah.
And I liked that. Because, I mean, I could stop.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, that's what I think. So some guys probably find that they might prefer that, and you might find that yourself. We don't know yet. After this fight with Randy, you might find out. You might like it. You might do it against Randy and go, do you know what? This is my thing. Who knows? But I tell you what, it's a good fight that's going to happen on Valor Fights, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not in the area and you're not able to get a ticket for this, if you're, say, living in, I don't know, Norway or the North Pole, if you live in the North Pole or somewhere, you can go onto the website and you can go onto the website and there is links, I believe. Now, I think you can probably watch it online There'll be somewhere, but there is, like I said, I spoke to Tim Loy, who's CEO. They are doing the UFC Fight Pass deal, so that will kick in at some point. I believe in the next couple of weeks that's going to be, I say, officially, happening. I'm not sure when the first card's going to be. So
news to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, did you not know about that? Oh, there you go then. I'll pass that information. I'll drop that information to you. Mate, it's going to happen. So what will probably happen as well. I know with previous promotions that go on to UFC Fight Pass, they put the history on there as well. So your stuff will get eventually put on there as well if they're loading up the history of fights, like a back catalogue, so to speak. They have the back catalogue of the previous events that the promotions have had.
Like a library of MMA fights.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Valor
has a lot of their stuff on YouTube, and I like to go back and like if I don't watch a Valor show, I'll go on YouTube when they upload, like even if it's just like the 3 fights that they put on TV, because sometimes Fox will play some of their fights.
Yeah.
And I'll go and watch them. I think Valor puts on good shows. They really do.
There is a handful of promotions, like same with Shamrock as well. Shamrock have really good production value as well as a lot of promotions out there that not a lot of people are aware of. Do you know what it is? It's A, accessibility, and B, it's the promotion being out there, so not everyone knows about them. Just to the fact that if you live in South Africa, you might not know of this show in America or Brazil or Europe or wherever. Sometimes it literally is the kind of court. I say, well, let's go back to the UFC, Bellator. There's a handful of people will know of, but there are some that people just won't know of unless they're proper, let's say, geeks, like MMA geeks, and they're absorbed into the sport and they will follow every promotion they can.
Yeah, and I guess UFC Fight Pass is a really good way to access some promotions. I don't know how many promotions they have in their on Fight Pass. I don't even know. They've
got Shuto in Brazil. There's one in Russia. I can't remember the name of it. They've got Titan, Invicta. They've signed another one on there as well with American promotion. I can't remember the name of it. They've got at least 5. At the least. This one, Valor's going to get signed. It says 6. So they've got 6 minimum. So
and Valor's going to be one of them?
Yeah. That's getting that. I'll speak. I had Tim on last week. I was talking to him, and he basically said that they're looking to get the deal done, hopefully, in the next, say, 2 weeks. So
that's really cool.
So that will be when that deal's done. They'll obviously do the announcement, and then I'm not sure which show it will be, which will be the Fight Pass, which will be on Fight Pass. I just know that that's getting done. So that's the.
I'm gonna try and get on that card.
I was gonna say, man, you want to try and get on that first one. The exposure you get with Fight Pass as well. It's it hits every household that has in the world, potentially that has the app on their phone or on their Xbox, or I don't know if you can get it on PS4 yet. And I think I see people on Twitter complain about maybe it's not been on PS4 yet, but it's accessible in many platforms. So there's a lot more people out there, to watch you perform.
I think that whole idea behind UFC Fight Pass is really cool.
Yeah, do you know what? I love it. I've got it, man, and I love it. I've had it for a long time. Pretty much, probably, I had Fight Pass when it was accessible. I could get it when it came to the UK. I probably got it when they brought it here. In fact, no tell a lie, I got it about a month after because my friend bought it, and so I let him experiment and to make sure it was all right. I went, okay, let's try it on yours. And if it isn't any good, I'm not going to get it. And then he had it, and I went, do you know what? I'm going to have to buy it, all right? And he went, yeah, you're going to have to buy it. And I did. And you know what? It's the best thing on my phone. I love it more than me contacts, talking to people. Honestly, I would get rid of the phone and not talk to anyone and just watch Fight Pass all day. I'd watch it all day long.
There's that many fights on there, huh? You can just watch it forever.
Oh, yeah. I go to Pride, mate. Go back to the good old days of just watching Vanderlei Silva juiced up off his tits on whatever he was taking. And Crow Cop just head kicking people into the next planet. Ah, epic. Just epic stuff. Love it, I do. Corey.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh, mate, Corey, you have to get in the fight pass, man. But Corey, look, you're fighting Randy. It's going to be an awesome bout. Before you shoot off, before you go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening, can you give people at home who don't have it already your social media stuff they can jump onto to follow you, support you, and stuff like that?
What was that?
What's your social media stuff, buddy?
Oh, I have a Facebook. It's just my name, Corey Browning. There's a picture of me. You'll know it's me because I'm wearing hand wraps and I'm in the cage. So.
There we go. Hand wraps. That's all you need to know. Okay. And what about? Have you got any sponsors that help you out?
Oh, I don't have any sponsors, but my gym NKI. You know.
And do you want to give a shout out to
McMahon and Craig McMahon?
I was going to say, do you want to give a shout out to your gym and your training partners, your coaches, and friends and family that help you? People that support you as well.
Oh yeah, well, my parents are definitely supporting me. I work for my stepdad. Work for his electrical company right now. Company's expanding too, so there's that. That might open up some opportunities if this MMA thing doesn't work.
It'd be a sparky, yeah. So do you want to give a shout out to your training partners and stuff?
Yeah, definitely Freddie Walker and Anthony Morgan, main guys that I train with for this fight, and Brandon McMahon, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Freddie's fighting on the same card as well, isn't he, against Austin?
Yeah, Freddie Walker's fighting on the same card.
Yeah.
I think I'm far enough behind it to where I'll get to watch it. You know, it sucks if you have a teammate fighting like one fight before you or two fights before you, where you're kind of busy. Like,
yeah,
you're either getting hand wraps or you're warming up.
Yeah.
You know, and you really want to see the fight, but you really just kind of can't.
Yeah, it is rubbish that when they don't space it out a little bit more, isn't it? Yeah, I've had it before. I've experienced it, mate. Trust me, it is rubbish, that bit, and you just have to you have to listen to the crowd and you go, I have no idea if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
Right, yeah. I don't think Freddie has anything to worry about. I mean, he's definitely dedicated. He's a hard worker. I think he's plenty ready to beat this guy.
I'll tell you what, he's got a great opportunity if he wins this, going on to the next qualifier and stuff like that. He can end up on Las Vegas at the World Championships. There's a lot of potential from this as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty big fight, actually. You know,
Yeah.
number 1 and number 2, he's holding the belt, and you know these guys are supposed. I don't really know the whole details behind it, but yeah, I mean, if he wins, he goes and fights somebody else, I think.
Yeah, he goes to Arizona for the next one, and then it's Vegas after that.
Yeah, he'll fight in Vegas before me. That's crazy. Okay.
Hey, man, do you know what? You can get there, mate. You'll get there eventually. Just got to keep at it. Man. Look, Corey, thanks very much for coming on and speak. It's been a pleasure having you on. And look, have a great fight. Have a great time against Randy, and enjoy your weekend with Valor Fights.
All right, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.